Trước khi bắt đầu, nếu bạn đang tìm kiếm sách để học IELTS hiệu quả, thì đây là những cuốn sách chúng mình khuyên dùng. Nó có thể giúp bạn đạt điểm IELTS từ 7.0 tới 8.0. Bạn hãy xem ở phần giỏ hàng trong kênh nhé. Cảm ơn bạn đã ủng hộ kênh.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and a representative of an agency that arranges cleaning services for people's houses.
Good morning, Home Care Cleaning Agency.
Oh, hello. I'd like to arrange to have some cleaning done, please.
Certainly. Have you used our services before?
No, I haven't. But a friend of mine has often used your company and suggested I phone you.
Oh, that's great. I'll just take some details from you and then you can let me know exactly what you would like done.
OK.
First of all, what area are you in?
I'm in the southwest.
OK. And are you interested in having a regular cleaner or is this a one-off clean?
No, I'd like to arrange to have someone come in once a week.
Right. Now, let's just get a bit of information about the house. How many bedrooms does it have?
3.
Are they all double bedrooms?
Well, one of the bedrooms is quite small, so it's probably really 2 double rooms.
Right.
We have the small bedroom set up as an office.
OK. And just a standard kitchen, lounge, dining room and bathroom?
Well, actually, we don't have a separate dining room. It's a kitchen diner. Then there's the lounge, and as well as that, we have a family room. Oh, and 2 bathrooms.
OK. Right. That's all I need to know about the house itself. Now, what we do is we offer a basic cleaning service and then you let us know about anything extra you'd like cleaned.
Right. And what does the basic service include?
We clean all the floors and surfaces and do a basic clean in the kitchen and bathroom.
OK, that sounds good. Oh, and do you clean windows?
Well, I'm afraid we don't do that, health and safety regulations, but we do offer other special services. We can put clean sheets on the beds, for example.
Uh-huh.
Or we can clean out your fridge. A lot of people like that done.
I'm not so worried about that, but I would like the sheets changed.
That's no problem, we can do that.
What about the carpet?
As well as the standard vacuum, we can shampoo it if you want.
Right. We've got young children, so it gets pretty dirty. I haven't had it done for 6 months. It really needs doing more often than that.
You can have it done every month if you like, but 3 months is what we usually recommend.
That sounds good. The only other thing is the washing. Do you do laundry work?
Yes, we do. That's no problem. What exactly would you like done?
Well, it's no problem to put a load of washing in the machine. I can do that, but I would like to have the ironing done.
That's fine. And would you like the washing put away in drawers or wardrobes?
No, it's OK. You can just leave everything out and fold it up.
OK, right. Now, I'll just set up an account for you and I'll take down some of your details. First of all, what's your full name?
It's Rose Kelly.
And could I have your home address, please, Mrs. Kelly?
Yes, it's 48 Amy's Road. That's A-M-Y-E-S. And that's in Mount Eden.
OK. Now, what day of the week would you like the property cleaned?
It doesn't really matter. Not Monday, but any other day.
OK, let's see. We have a cleaner in your area later on Thursday, so shall we go for that day? We could have someone there by about 9:30 in the morning. Does that suit you?
Yes, that's fine. And do you charge an hourly rate or a total for the whole job?
No, we charge by the hour. It will work out to about $25 per hour.
Oh, that's quite reasonable. I thought it might be closer to $30. And how long do you expect it to take?
Well, you said the house isn't large, so I'd guess no more than 3 hours at the most. We can occasionally finish a 3-bedroom in 2.5, but that's probably not too realistic.
Right, that sounds good.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you very much, and we'll have someone there next week.
Thank you.
Welcome to our holiday special. Today I'll be talking about a new cycle route in this area called the Amsden Way. It's well signposted, so you can see exactly where to go. And it's an easy route with no steep hills. It's 35 kilometers long from Amsden to Lowington and consists partly of cycle paths and partly roads. Let me outline the route briefly, starting at Amsden Railway Station. The first part is a cycle path running eastwards, roughly parallel to the rail track. Almost immediately, the railway curves away and goes around the southern side of a little lake. But the cycle path takes the northern route around the lake. Keep your eyes open for the swans that nest there. The path then joins the road, and the next landmark is a group of massive rocks which tower over the countryside. You will see them to the east of the road just before the road goes under the railway. They are very impressive. Soon, you'll come to a fork in the road where you're going to leave the road and head off toward the river. But if you want to make a detour to Colleen Nature Reserve, go straight on instead of leaving the road here. Continuing along the cycle path, you'll reach the River Cleeve. The cycle path follows the river southwards. After a bit, you'll see the Ashington China Factory, which closed in 1962. When you get there, there's a bridge over the river, and you carry on with Langton Forest to the south and farmland to the north. The route ends at Langton Village, where you'll find a railway station. So you can either catch the train here or cycle back to Amsden. One point to remember when you're cycling on the Amsden Way is that you should keep your eyes open for sheep which occasionally stray onto the cycle path from adjoining fields. So be careful to avoid accidents. The path is well constructed, so it's not affected by wet or muddy conditions. There might be the odd car or tractor when you're cycling on roads, but most traffic has been diverted to the main road that bypasses the whole area. Now, a bit more about some of the places you'll see. The starting point, Amsden Station, was quite busy in the early 20th century with services to several major cities. But it was closed in the 1950s. And actually, a small company was set up to turn it into a sort of railway museum, maintaining it in the style of the 1950s. And the station was ready for trains to start using it again earlier this year. It's only used by a few local trains, though. There's a visitors center at the station which has a small exhibition about the history of railway transport all over the world, and a facility for hiring bikes if you don't have one of your own. There's also a small shop just across the road from the station that sells refreshments. As I said, you can cycle to Langton and return to Amsden by train, or the other way around, because you can take your cycle on the train. There's no need to book. There's plenty of room and no extra charge. However, the service is very limited, and the trains between these two places don't run on weekdays. If you want to see the River Elm, there's a footpath from Amsden Station, and you can safely leave your bike in the car park there. Leave yourself plenty of time, though. Going down's easy, but the climb up is very steep. So the walk back up to the top can take quite a while. But it's worth the effort. The scenery is wonderful. and the footpath runs right next to the river, down to a waterfall. Finally, if you'd like to do some more cycling in the area, there are lots of other cycle paths. We'll be talking on the radio about them, and you'll be able to get full details in the Saturday edition of the local paper. The National Cycle Network also has some details on their website, although I have to say they don't have many local ones yet. But that may change. So we'll be telling you more about...
Part 3. You will hear 2 music students discussing the results of a survey they have done.
So, Gareth, we need to organise the findings from our survey on music students for the final presentation.
Yes, Lorna. I think we've got some very interesting results. Obviously, we need to start by saying that we interviewed all the third-year students doing a music degree and state the objective of our research project, that is, to find out about their attitudes to performing.
And then we should talk about the students' musical backgrounds before coming to university. The most important points to make are that although most people have actually composed music during the course, that wasn't the case when they arrived. And the other thing they had in common was the piano.
Well, they'd had access to a piano at some point, but not all had studied it formally. I thought the most interesting finding was that before coming here, almost everyone was involved in a chamber orchestra or band or singing in a choir and playing in front of live audiences.
But varying enormously in size. Some had only played in tiny venues. I think it's worth saying that.
OK. And as you might expect from people wanting to study music, they all had a degree of proficiency in at least 2 instruments. But in most cases, one of the instruments was dominant.
Right. We need to talk about attitudes to music practice. The most striking thing here is that even students who you'd expect to practice for hours every day until they get it perfect say it's being terrified of failing that really makes them practice. I know I'm the same.
Me too. It's interesting what was said about practicing alone. Some people preferred that because they could focus more on their weak points.
But that wasn't a majority view. What most of them agree on is that there's nothing more rewarding than mastering something that's really hard to learn.
That's right. OK, after that, we should talk a bit about the pieces that students select for assessed performances.
There wasn't quite so much consensus on this, was there? A few people prefer to do pieces which are relatively unknown, while others choose the ones they think will show off their technical ability. But they were in the minority.
I think the first thing to say is that a high percentage said they would always try to learn their pieces by heart because it's too easy to get lost if you're trying to read and play when you're nervous.
OK. And quite a lot of them said it helps to listen to other people playing your chosen piece, preferably recordings, but even just other students. So finally, we need to look at the findings for students' attitudes to performing. We should point out that this includes informal and formal public performances as well as assessed ones.
Yes, that's important. I expected to find that performing solo would make students very nervous, but in fact that isn't the case.
They do find it hugely challenging to start with, but they appreciate the challenge and find it stimulating.
Right. I was surprised by what students said about deciding which pieces to perform. I thought they'd all say this was easy. For me, it's always been quite straightforward. Which pieces do I like best? And which pieces can I play well? And my repertoire is quite limited anyway. But the most commonly cited answer was that it took them ages to make their minds up.
I suppose it's because there are so many factors involved. You need to consider your audience, the venue, the time available to learn the piece, especially if it's complicated. You need to think about all these things, and you can't do that in a hurry.
That's true.
Then there's performing with musicians from a different genre, like a classical musician playing with a jazz group. That can really be fun.
But most of the music students had never even considered it.
Right. For performing with musicians who play the same instrument, almost everyone put the same thing.
Yes, they all said it was incredibly helpful and not at all intimidating, which says a lot for the department's ethos.
Yes, that's a good point. Okay, what I think we should sort out now.
Section 4. You will hear a lecturer talking to a group of environmental science students about fuel made from biomass.
Good afternoon, everyone. In this course, we've been discussing the principles of sustainable development, and now we're going to look at some of the ways in which these principles are being put into practice. Today, I'm going to talk about the use of biomass. And for those of you who don't know what biomass is, it's plant material, usually agricultural waste, such as sawdust or straw. And briquettes made out of biomass are used as fuel, either in the home or in industry. I'll start with the benefits. Using briquettes has a financial benefit because they make use of waste products as raw materials, so there isn't any cost involved for that. Another advantage is convenience. Handling briquettes is cleaner than handling materials like wood or charcoal. Also, briquettes are less trouble to store because they're a uniform size and shape. Right, let's look briefly now at how these briquettes are made. There are two basic methods of manufacture. The first method uses machinery. At the initial stage, all the loose plant material is ground into a powder and then mixed with other materials. Next, a machine compresses the biomass mixture, and that process raises the temperature and causes it to melt. The machine forces the biomass mixture out through rectangular or circular holes. Then, as the pressure decreases, the mixture cools and becomes solid again, and that's how the briquettes are formed. It's important to point out that with this method, electricity is essential to operate the machinery, and the exact amount you need depends on the type of biomass you use. But generally, the amount required is only 3% to 9% of the energy that's produced by the briquettes when they are burnt. The second method involves making briquettes by hand. This method is suitable when the biomass is mainly composed of material that doesn't melt, like paper. The biomass is made into a paste by adding water and, in addition, something sticky such as starch. This mixture is then shaped, using either a simple metal press or bare hands. So where is biomass fuel used, and how extensively? Well, it's difficult to obtain detailed figures, but it's been used for several years in Europe and the USA, mainly for agriculture. And since 2000, there's been a rapid increase in the production and use of briquettes made out of wood waste. I can give you a ballpark figure. In 2010, about 5 million tons were used in Europe. Some of these had to be imported from the USA. Moving further east, both India and China have been producing biomass briquettes since the 1990s. Detailed figures are hard to come by, but in China, in 2002, the number of factories producing biomass briquettes had increased to approximately 600, and production is still growing. I don't have information about Africa in general, but I can give you an example of one company in Uganda which is producing briquettes. Most of the company's customers are public institutions like schools and universities that provide hot meals for their students. The other main users are businesses that need a source of heat for producing their products. Okay, well, how viable are biomass fuels like these in economic terms, and what is likely to happen in the future? Well, the answer depends partly on the price of the fuels that they replace, and that varies from place to place. But in general, the demand for biomass fuels is almost certain to grow, and that can only benefit the environment. Let's turn now to another facet of sustainability.